Okay, so I promised that we were going to talk about Sweet Pea. It was one of the shows that I had essentially watched over the Christmas break, and we have some thoughts. Now, for those of you who do not know what Sweet Pea is a show on Stars that essentially follows Ella Purnell's character, who's this very, very pushover type character who finally snaps. And the way in which she deals with essentially all of the trauma, I really shouldn't say trauma, all of the stress of essentially being ignored is that she basically decides to kill people. Now going into the series, I really thought that it was going to be I really thought it was going to be more like Dexter, but not exactly like Dexter. I was kind of hoping that we were going to get something that was a little bit of season 1 Dexter and a little bit of you. Like I thought she was going to be somewhere between either a female Dexter or a female Joe Goldberg. And she was neither of those. I absolutely love Ella Purnell. I think she's been doing a fantastic job over the last just few years with all the projects that she's essentially working on. Oops. Arcane and the Fallout series. And to see her talents be basically wasted on this show because of mediocre writing is extremely disappointing. Number one, I'm tired of the 6 episode format. I don't know how we went from 24 episode seasons to and 12 episode um miniseries. Like a miniseries used to be about 10 or 12 episodes. I don't know how we went from 24 episodes. I know exactly how we went from it. But still, to 6 episode seasons. 6 episode seasons doesn't give you enough time to marinate anything. The characters are for the most part half baked. Her character is the only one that I kind of walk away liking, but at the exact same time, I also dislike for how poor the writing is. Every character in this series is written extremely poorly, but her character has done a disservice because of how poorly everybody else is essentially written. The premise is she was basically mistreated and bullied when she was in high school. This caused a series of like crippling depression and suicidal thoughts and other things along those lines that caused her hair to fall out, caused her to self harm, things like that. When she moved into the work sector, she ends up being bullied and ignored by the people that she works with. She ends up being demeaned and put down. She gets into a situation where she kind of throws herself at a guy. They hook up and have sex, and then he drops her like a bad habit, essentially. And I was hoping that it was going to be a situation, well, two situations. Either the character would snap in a better way, in a better handled way, or the character was already up to nefarious things and she was just keeping up appearances for everybody else. I feel if we had went the direction of essentially being the character being a murderer from the beginning and her trying to lead like this normal life where she allows people to essentially bully her, it's essentially along the lines of hey, this is my stress release. I murder people to relieve stress, basically, so that I can continue through the mundane. Because she's unable to overthrow these last few people in her life, like her sister, like her boss, like the guy that she's trying to hook up with. But that's not the case at all. She's bullied, she snaps, she kills a guy in a really, really haphazard way. They introduce the guy who's going to figure it out in the beginning as a potential love interest, which sucks because they kind of introduce him in a way where he's like super attentive, and you're like, yeah, you're gonna notice some really really small thing that's gonna make you realize what she's basically been up to. They get rid of the main villain too quickly, and then take the main villain and in a sympathetic route. The main villain is essentially the girl who used to bully her in high school, where she pretends that she doesn't even know her. She continues to treat her like shit, and she's like the main bad guy. And you would think that her revenge would be something along the lines of stealing her life. like this newfound confidence would have her end up with the person that she was with and then take over like her friend group and all these nope, nothing on those lines. The main antagonist basically does a complete 180 randomly because of a 5 minute heart to heart that wasn't really a heart to heart. It was just like, kids gonna be kids. And they just moved on from there. Like they just dropped that entirely. The ignorance of the people that she works with is ignored and then fixed and then ignored and then fixed and then ignored. And then towards the end of it, she starts making just absolutely baffling and mind-boggling decisions that just just ruins the story for me. As the story progressed, I was just basically going through the motions trying to finish the series to see whether or not it was going to end as bad as it did. And like I said, around episode 2, you kind of figure out that the main attentive guy is going to figure out what's going on and then he's going to die in some way, shape, or form. Ended up happening. And that's kind of disappointing because I was kind of hoping for a female you or a female Dexter, or give me something a little bit new with a character who basically pretends to be a sheep, but on the complete flip side is an absolute wolf. There's a Korean movie that I watched where this guy moves into a flat, and when he moves into the flat, the woman who lives in the apartment next to him is like a serial killer. She's a hired serial killer. Like she'll go out and she'll kill people for an organization. And outside of that, she's like the nicest, sweetest person you'll ever meet until the mask comes on. She's murdering people. I really felt that that was the direction they were going for Ella Parnell's character. Never happened in any way, shape, or form. Didn't happen like at all. And that was disappointing for me. It was disappointing just how poor the writing was, how uneven it was, how characters are basically introduced and then just gone. Like important characters like her sister shows up one episode, never seen again. Like her dad, introduced in episode 1, dies in episode 1, not really ever mentioned again, except for the fact that she might lose his house. Other characters around her who've like grown up with her, never utilized. The rest of the members of the Friends group, introduced in one episode, never seen again. The quest that she goes on in one of the episodes to basically kill her arch nemesis's husband because he's mistreating her, but then the level of mistreatment seems to be emotional abuse, maybe physical abuse, something that is alluded to. But then the question has to be asked whether or not the best friend is the former arch enemy is using her to basically get rid of this guy that she feels as though is emotionally like destroying her life. Never really addressed in any way, shape, or form. The guy is never built up in any way, shape, or form. He's introduced. There's some really mean text messages. There's a bad situation where he kind of lashes out, and then the dude gets murdered and he's gone. And it's like, okay, and then police officers are also fucking stupid. It's like, I have the proof to prove that this woman is a murderer and she should be investigated, but I'm not gonna do it because I want to catch you myself. Huh? This series was just, it was just meh. I kind of, I'm hoping that if they decide to do a season 2, that the writing is a whole lot better, but I'm really not looking forward to it in any way, shape, or form. It's just like, you gotta tighten this shit up. If it's gonna be 6 episodes, then you gotta give us really, really good writing. It can't be uneven writing. You can't waste screen time on characters that are never gonna come back. If you want to introduce the character, kill her father off probably halfway through and make him a kill that she does. This is ghoulish. I know it's a little bit evil, but if you're going to write an evil female character, this is how you want to go about it. Where she wants to really, really uh, impress and live up to the idea of her dad telling her that she has to basically take control of her life. And at the exact same time, dealing with the whole favoritism that he's showing towards the elder sister. Maybe build the elder sister up to be like this narcissistic golden child that she has to get rid of in some way, shape, or form. And she's like the final big bad. Make the bully from high school, if you're going to kill somebody or make that person the first kill, make the bully the first kill. Hell, have her run through the entire bully friends group and then have the sister be the last person that she goes after. But having her pick off like random people like on the street and then being really bad at covering it up and then dropping everybody else's IQ to make them just as stupid as the plot requires them to be, it took me out. Took me out completely. So I don't really recommend Sweet Pea at all, which is a shame because it really does waste Ella's talents. And I'm kind of hoping that she doesn't come back for a season 2. But let me know if you saw Sweet Pea. What do you think about it? Am I completely wrong? Do you think it could have been better? Would it have been better if it was a 10 episode series that really fleshed out the characters instead of just 6 episodes? Comment down below, let me know, and I will catch you in the next one. All right.